WQAD News 8, this is WQAD This Week.
Good morning, it's Sunday, June 25th. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of News 8 This Week. We are at the Rock Island Arsenal Museum, and we have a lot to get to, but we begin with the long journey to get here. After being closed for 3 years, the museum is set to reopen on Thursday. This morning, we begin with Museum Director Patrick Allie, who shares with us how all of these exhibits are coming together. Patrick, start by talking to me about what your goal was 3 years ago, or perhaps further back than that, when it came to reimagining this museum.
Yeah, so really the goal with reimagining the Rock Island Arsenal Museum is really a multifaceted goal. So really trying to develop a museum that served multiple purposes. The Rock Island Arsenal Museum is part of a larger system of museums that the Army operates called the Army Museum Enterprise, and we really stand on two pillars in terms of what our goals are, and that drove a lot of what we did here at Rock Island. One is educating soldiers about their history, and the other one is educating the public. The Rock Island Arsenal Museum in this community is really the first place where the public comes in contact with its Army for the first time in many cases, whether those are school kids or people traveling through the area, or just anyone in the community, frankly, or new employees to the Arsenal, whether those are soldiers or civilians. And so really the goal when we started looking at what we were going to do here was to better serve those audiences. And we really tried to do that in a multitude of ways. We tried to create an exhibit that was multi-layered, that could be experienced by people of all ages, all levels of understanding of what the Army is, what the Army was, how it operated, and then also to tell the really unique part of the Army history that we tell here at Rock Island, which is Army manufacturing. Of the entire Army Museum Enterprise, we are the only museum that talks about the Army manufacturing things for itself. And so that was one of the aspects of the local history that we really wanted to kind of lean into and share with the general public.
As you sit here now, and we're days away, you're days away from reopening.
Yes.
How does it feel? And do you feel like you have achieved that goal? Can you say that you've achieved that goal at this point?
Oh, most certainly. So, it's a blend of excitement, anticipation. As we've neared the reopening on June 29th, we've had, some preview events, some folks on the installation come through. We've had our public affairs come through, take photos. We've had, different groups kind of give us some feedback on what the experience was. And I can say, without hesitation, it's been overwhelmingly positive. And so the comments I receive, any follow-up questions are exactly the ones I want to hear. I didn't know that. I had no idea that happened here, or you did that work here at the Arsenal, or, oh, they had multiple generations of people from the Quad Cities that worked here, so do I. I've been getting constantly over Facebook as we've started kind of sharing kind of the new approach of the museum, people reaching out and saying, oh yeah, I hear you're highlighting different generations of people that have worked at the Arsenal. My great-grandmother worked at the Arsenal, and her mother and her daughter worked there. And so, for me, being able to start to hear those things is great, and looking forward to hearing even more of that and to be able to share the very unique history we have here at Rock Island Arsenal, again, after 3 years of being closed, is just incredible.
Talk to me about the sort of forward-looking nature of how you've designed this space so that you can sort of continue to engage audiences year over year as things change, as you kind of have new ideas.
Yeah, so when we started laying this space out, one thing that you always have to think about is what is the core story you're telling, and then how are you going to continue telling that story? And so really the museum is kind of in two halves, so to speak. One tells the legacy history, so the history of this area, the history of the island from 1804 up to today, and then the second half is kind of today, what we're doing. And the way we've allocated space is the today story actually opens up quite a bit for visitors. And so the reason for that is we wanted to have space allocated where we could highlight things as they're happening on the Arsenal today. So if if Joint Manufacturing Technology Center has a new product there that they want to highlight, that we have a space for that to go. If Joint Munitions Command, who manages all munitions production for the Joint Force, has something that they want to highlight, we can do that. We can react to centennials or any sort of aspects of history of what's has happened or is happening here on the Arsenal. We wanted to have that established. We're also working on a phase 2 to establish a 1,500 square foot temporary exhibit space where we can bring out the more than 7,000 artifacts we still have in our storerooms and highlight those aspects of Arsenal history that maybe we weren't able to in this installation. And so, we really have tried to make the space versatile, dynamic, so that we have visitors not just come here once, but become repeat visitors, come back for special exhibitions, come back for programming, all those things that allow us to keep this space fresh.
Patrick, a wonderful job on the museum.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time this week.
It was a pleasure.